Hi, and welcome to T-Mobile Calls on Text Analytics to deliver consistent customer service, a Take 30 with One-to-One Media webcast sponsored by Teletech. I'm Tom Hoffman at One-to-One Media, and I'll be the moderator for today's discussion, where we'll be exploring how T-Mobile's use of text analytics has helped its customer service organization to better understand customer interactions, to align its agent resources more effectively, and provide more consistent service across channels. Our featured speaker today is Jen Palmer, Director of Knowledge Management and Social Media Service at T-Mobile. Jen and her group were recognized with the 2014 Gartner One-to-One Media CRM Excellence Award for the company's achievements in improving online customer care, in part through its use of text analytics. Jen, thanks so much for joining us today.
Tom, thanks so much for having me. It's a pleasure to be here.
Now for a bit more background on the key points we'll be covering in today's discussion. Today, Jen and I will discuss changes that are occurring in the wireless industry that are influencing customer loyalty and how the role of customer service is evolving. We'll also explore lessons learned from T-Mobile's social media service that are being applied to chat support and the benefits that are being generated. We'll also examine how the use of text analytics is helping T-Mobile to better understand customer behavior and to allocate agent resources more effectively. This will be followed by a Q&A with our audience. So as we've seen, customer loyalty has become more important than ever. And this is especially true in the wireless communications industry, where carriers are competing aggressively for subscribers. Two of the cornerstones of loyalty in the industry are the perception of the value received by customers and their satisfaction with service plans. In 2013, T-Mobile shook up the industry by abolishing the traditional contract model. T-Mobile's Un-carrier initiative frees customers from traditional annual contracts as well as early termination fees. So as an extension of its offering, customer loyalty took on increased importance as the company sought to deliver world-class customer service across all of its different touchpoints as part of its efforts to retain customers who were no longer bound by contracts or early termination fees. During this transition, T-Mobile also recognized a shift in customer behavior as a growing number of customers took to the web and other digital channels to find information and to request service. So at this point, I'd like to bring Jen into the discussion to share more with us about T-Mobile's journey and how this has influenced its customer support efforts. So Jen, can you tell us about T-Mobile's journey and how it's gotten to where it is now?
You bet, Tom. Thanks. So as Tom mentioned, T-Mobile is on this journey of being what we call the Un-carrier. So we are on a mission to remove those painful customer interactions and pain points really in our ugly category. And as a result of these efforts, we've seen not only substantial customer growth, but also over 900% growth on our social properties over the last 2 years. So that means people liking us and following us on our social channels. Because with people choosing how they want to engage, you can see that our customers are going social. And as we've grown, we've learned to partner within our enterprise, so our partners over in marketing, PR, legal, et cetera, to ensure that we're engaging with our customers in a meaningful way. And the result of that speaks for itself, as we have just been won actually our 7th consecutive award from Social Bakers, being recognized as the most socially devoted brand on Facebook.
That's great. And I would imagine, too, that as part of this, as part of your efforts, you've also been looking at and identifying customer pain points in different channels. Is that right?
Yeah, we absolutely have. We've one of the great things about our social channels is that it's enabled us to find certain trends a lot faster than we did before. So, for example, if we see something trending on social, we're able to course correct within our customer service, our call center environment, and identify trends and do that course correction. Another thing as well is that we really leveraged our best practices and took that into chat, and we started breaking apart some of those different chat types that we were receiving. And we pulled out one of the most complicated ones, which is billing. We have our chat is handled on an offshore agency, and so billing questions are challenging whether you speak English or not as your first language. So we took a look at all of our best practices from a social perspective and used those text analytics and applied those to our chat, and we saw some fantastic results there as well.
So this would include identifying what customers commonly are asking about with respect to billing. Is that right?
Exactly. And so we use, since we're super proficient in problem solving in a text-only conversation via social, we cascaded and relayed those best practices and the talking points and scripting and incorporated that into our chat. And we saw fantastic results as far as customer resolution, and then as well decreased amount of time spent on a chat, which as we all know, chat is a very expensive channel to operate in. So any time that you can reduce the amount of time you're talking to a customer and resolve their issue the first time, that you'll see substantial operational efficiencies there.
Sure. So Jen, can you also share with us how T-Mobile is using analytics to better understand and respond to customer behaviors?
Absolutely. So as I alluded to here, with us taking our best practices from social, applying those into the chat environment, which is what we recognize for the Gartner Award, and so really understanding what are those key phrases and comments that are resonating with customers and making them understand what could be a challenging and complex conversation. And so as I mentioned too, that we cascade those to the offshore team. And then we also were better able to understand when our customers were coming in through the chat channel, and then able to staff accordingly. And we also found some other great practices of when we shouldn't be offering chat as a solution for billing if we don't have agent availability. We could see that customers who were waiting a long time for a chat to occur when it was a billing related question, they just came off right off the bat a little more frustrated having to have a wait time.
Sure. Yeah, and I would think that being able to identify when customers come into chat, and as you mentioned, staffing appropriately helps with resource optimization.
Exactly.
So Jen, what are some of the discoveries that you and your team have been able to make using text analytics?
So several things, and we use the text analytics for both of our social channel and then as well from the chat channel. So we're able to identify some early trends. So, as an uncarrier, we launch new programs and offerings all the time. So customers will reach us, via those channels to inquire more about them. So we're able to identify those early trends and what the customer sentiment is as well over those, products or maybe even any issues that we see emerging. And what we've also learned as well is that customers have different expectations based on their channel. So for example, chat, people need instant gratification, whereas social, customers tend to be happy if you respond to them within 24 hours is kind of what the industry norm is at the moment.
Yeah, and it sounds like this speaks to the importance of being able to identify not only what customers are asking for with respect to product usage or questions they may have about products, but also gaining a deeper understanding of what they're looking for in terms of support that they're requesting.
Exactly. Yes, we have definitely found that, and varying on. As far as their, experience and with your brand as well. So it's all of that wrapped into one.
Jen, can you also speak to how you've been able to incorporate these insights into actions?
Oh, you bet. We actually have a really good example of something this last spring. We introduced it, or actually we announced we were removing a program where we were offering discounts for businesses on their rate plans because we felt that our offering of our simple choice plans were even better. Well, boy, did we hear loud and clear the reaction on social, and we were able to, again, track the text, what customers were saying. We were able to push that back up to our executives. So our executives are very much listening to what our customers have to say, and especially on social. And within 24 hours, the business decided to reverse that decision. And then, of course, naturally, the reaction from our consumers at that point were they were thrilled that they were being listened to as well.
Absolutely. We speak about that all the time. And it also reflects how, as you said, you're listening to customers, but also responding to them very quickly in this instance.
Exactly.
So, Jen, can you also speak to the top business benefits that T-Mobile has been able to obtain from the improvements it has made to online customer support?
Yeah, what has been paramount for us is the high resolution rates. When a customer either calls you or reaches out to you, as a company, they want to have their issue resolved the first time. Nobody likes to take time out of their day to have an issue resolved. So we've actually seen fantastic resolution rates. And then as well, our customer service excellence, while also maintaining that brand tone. So we're able to carry on that T-Mobile Un-carrier fun, tone with our consumers. And then as well, we're getting recognized, as I mentioned, by third parties for what we're doing. So it's just been exciting and fun thing for our team to see.
So just to clarify, it sounds like the use of analytics has in part enabled T-Mobile to be able to identify upfront perhaps some of the process issues that may potentially impede a customer experience, and then be able to make changes to those processes which have also helped to lead to these improvements in resolution rates.
Absolutely, and we've just seen it time and time again. I've got oodles of examples over the course of even the last 6 to 8 months. We're continually offering in new products, and speed to market is key for any company. So sometimes we miss a step, and so if it's the customer experience is going sideways, the ability to use the text analytics and report back real time what's going on is we can improve that experience for our additional customers.
Sure. So Jen, can you also share with us the top lessons that you've learned from these efforts?
Absolutely. The big thing is be willing to take some risks. It's just, no risk, no reward. So that's one thing that we have certainly learned and evolving, especially in our social strategy. The next thing as well is do your homework. For us, our tools that we use, that we leverage for all of our online activities, we've had some big lessons learned there as well. So make sure that you're asking other people, evaluating products and vendors would be a huge one for me. Another thing is think big. So take a look at some of those companies that you really respect and what they're doing. We took a look at things that were outside of our vertical of, gosh, these companies are engaging in meaningful ways, and how do I replicate that and how do I make it my own with my own brand? And then, another part of that is test and learn. With the chat, we had great success there. We broke off a specific chat type to see if, hey, are we going to see improvement with resolution rates, and then as well decrease the amount of time that we spent online. And sure enough, and it was just a small portion of the total chat volume that we take. So test and learn anything that you want to introduce to your company.
That's great. So Jen, as a follow-up, can you share with us some of the risks that T-Mobile has taken?
Yeah, some of the risks that we have taken are again, social in general. We first didn't partner with our marketing organization, and really we found that we were almost tripping over each other, and we weren't supporting the message and the brand. So we learned that we had to partner together, and it was just a risk jumping out there to get into social in the first place. And then as well as some of the other risks of enabling our frontline, the representatives that we have actually working on this, is that we don't go out through an outside agency for our social support. So we took a risk and we empowered a handful of frontline representatives who are call center representatives, and enabled them to speak for us and on behalf of the brand in a social manner.
Interesting. Okay, thanks for sharing that. And thanks for everything that you shared with us so far. At this point, we'd like to open it up to the audience Q&A. Jen, this first question is regarding social, and I was wondering if you could share with us some of the best practices that T-Mobile has learned through its experiences in social media.
I think first and foremost, as I've alluded to over the course of this meeting, is that maintaining those relationships across the enterprise. So really understanding what the marketing calendar is and being able to support it. And then as well, working with our partners in PR for what are those approved talking points. So we have that consistent tone, and we are supporting the brand. And the other big thing is enabling the social reps. There are my folks who are online and answering customer questions, right? They need to be empowered to do what's right for the customer. And then as well, part of that goes hand in hand is access to all of our systems so that they can get in there and complete whatever transaction and make sure that they're supporting the customer in the right way. And above all is allowing them to be a brand advocate and having that flexibility just to put their own message and spin on it so they don't sound so robotic.
Good advice. Thanks. Can you also share whether T-Mobile has set its own threshold for responding to customer inquiries that are posted in social?
Yeah, at the moment, we're responding on our two largest properties, which are Facebook and Twitter, within about 100 minutes. I will tell you that we are actively looking at ways to reduce that across all of our properties. So we've got a couple things in the work there. I won't give you any sort of hints as to what our new bogey is, but certainly looking at all sorts of ways to reduce that time from 100 minutes.
So as you've been exploring that, I'm just curious how much, to what extent T-Mobile is influenced by, say, benchmarks that are conducted in other industries as well as within your own industry regarding the response times that are currently provided either by competitors or companies in other industries.
We're actively looking at all companies. We'd love to be the ones who are setting a standard. So it's something that you need to continually look at, and just ways to surprise and delight your customers. And one of them is just by listening to them immediately. So absolutely, we're looking at not only our competitors but other brands in other verticals.
Okay, thanks. Well, thanks again, Jen, for sharing your insights with us today. And thank you all for joining us as well. This concludes T-Mobile Calls on Text Analytics to deliver consistent customer service, a Take 30 with one-to-one webcast sponsored by Teletech. On behalf of the entire team, thanks for attending and have a great day.